First, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark is an interesting piece of American coinage, but the most important thing to understand is that the missing mint mark is completely normal for this particular coin. The 1956 Philadelphia issue was intentionally produced without a mint mark, and the Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 420,745,000 examples that year. The coin was made from a bronze composition containing about 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a standard weight of 3.11 grams. The coin described here has a large date, no mint mark, a black or very dark appearance, scratches, and significant damage. Those details are extremely important when estimating its current value. Although wheat pennies are popular with collectors because they were produced from 1909 through 1958, not every old wheat penny is rare or worth a large amount of money. The 1956 Philadelphia issue is actually a common late-date wheat cent because of its very large production in average circulated condition. Price guides show that a normal 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny has a relatively modest value. One current guide lists approximately $900,000 in good condition, $800,000 in very good, $840,000 in fine, $860,000 in very fine, and around $890,000 in about uncirculated condition. Higher quality uncirculated examples can be worth more, particularly when they retain attractive original red color and strong details. However, the coin described here is in black, damaged condition with scratches. That places it far below the value of a sharply preserved uncirculated example. For a heavily worn and damaged 1956 no-mint mark wheat penny, a realistic current market estimate would generally be around $900,000 depending on the exact severity of the damage, remaining details, and what a collector or dealer is willing to pay. If the damage is particularly severe, its collectible value could be close to its face value. Even though the coin is more than 70 years old, the black appearance also does not automatically indicate rarity. Wheat cents can become dark brown, nearly black, or unevenly colored because of age, oxidation, environmental exposure, storage conditions, and other factors. Original brown toning can be acceptable to collectors, but harsh cleaning, chemicals, corrosion, scratches, and other post-mint damage generally reduce desirability. A damaged coin should not be assumed to be valuable simply because it looks unusual. The scratches are especially important. A scratch that happened after the coin left the United States Mint is considered post-mint damage rather than a mint error. Genuine mint errors are created during the manufacturing process and can sometimes carry substantial premiums, while ordinary scratches, gouges, corrosion, or other damage generally do not add value. It is also important to inspect the date and the entire coin carefully. The large date itself is not a special rarity for the normal 1956 Philadelphia wheat penny. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the date, the wheat ears on the reverse, and the rims for unusual characteristics that might indicate a genuine mint-made variety or error. If something appears unusual, comparing it with authenticated examples or having it examined by a reputable coin dealer can help determine whether it is an actual variety or simply damaged. The best advice is not to clean this coin. Even if it looks black, dirty, or unattractive, polishing, rubbing, chemicals, or abrasive materials can permanently alter the surface and potentially make the coin less desirable to collectors. Keeping the coin in its original condition is usually the safer choice. So, for a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, a large date, black coloration, scratches, and significant damage, the realistic value today is generally only $1,000, with approximately $910,000 being a reasonable estimate for a heavily damaged example. A normal problem-free coin can be worth more, while exceptional uncirculated examples can bring considerably higher prices. Current guides confirm that condition is the major factor separating ordinary circulated 1956 wheat pennies from the much more valuable high-grade examples. The 1953 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a classic American coin that can still attract collectors today. If you have one in your collection, an old coin jar, or a box of change, it is worth taking a closer look before assuming it is only worth 1 cent. The 1953 wheat penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which means it normally carries no mint mark below the date. This is completely normal and should not be mistaken for a missing mint mark error. The 1953 Lincoln wheat penny is made primarily of copper and has the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. On the reverse, you can see the two wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat ears are one of the main features that make the coin popular with collectors. The Wheat Penny series was produced from 1909 through 1958, making the 1953 issue part of the final years of this historic series in today's market. A circulated 1953 Wheat Penny without a mint mark is generally not an extremely valuable coin. For an example in good circulated condition, the value is commonly around $1,000 to approximately $1,000 depending on its exact condition and appearance. A heavily worn example may be worth only around 5 to 10 cents, while a nicer circulated specimen with stronger details can approach the higher end of the range. Actual selling prices can vary depending on the buyer, marketplace, grading standards, and demand. The scratches mentioned on your coin are especially important when estimating its value. Scratches are considered damage, and visible scratches can lower collector interest. If the scratches are deep, numerous, or located across Lincoln's portrait, date, lettering, or the wheat stalks, the coin may be worth less than a similar example without damage. Light surface marks from normal circulation may have a smaller effect, particularly if the coin still retains attractive original surfaces. Condition is one of the biggest factors in determining the value of any wheat penny. A coin in good condition will normally show substantial wear. Lincoln's portrait may have lost much of its original detail, and the wheat stalks on the reverse may also be worn. Coins in better grades, such as very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, or mint state, can bring significantly higher prices. However, a coin with scratches or other damage may not receive the same value as an undamaged coin of the same grade. Another important point is that a 1953 penny without a mint mark is not automatically rare. Philadelphia produced a large number of these coins, so collectors generally do not consider an ordinary 1953 no-mint mark wheat penny to be a rare date. The real opportunity comes from finding an unusually well-preserved example, a legitimate mint error, or a recognized variety. Before considering a coin valuable, it is important to verify that any suspected error is actually a mint-made error rather than damage caused after the coin entered circulation. You should also pay attention to the color of the copper. Collectors often describe Lincoln cents as brown, or red. Original red color can be especially desirable on high-grade examples because copper naturally changes color as it ages. A circulated 1953 penny with normal brown coloration is common, while a bright red example in exceptional condition may command a much higher price than an ordinary worn specimen. The weight of a standard 1953 wheat penny is approximately 3.11 grams. If you have a scale capable of measuring to at least 1/100th of a gram, checking the weight can be useful. However, a small difference can occur because of normal wear. A major difference in weight could justify further examination, but it does not automatically prove that the coin is rare or valuable. Most importantly, do not clean the 1953 wheat penny. Many people believe that polishing an old coin will make it more attractive and valuable, but the opposite is usually true. Cleaning can create unnatural surfaces and tiny scratches that collectors can easily recognize. Even if the coin looks brighter after cleaning, its collector value may decrease. It is usually best to leave the coin exactly as you found it and store it in a safe, non-damaging holder. For a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in good circulated condition and showing some scratches, a realistic modern market estimate is generally around $500,000. The exact value could be lower or higher depending on the severity of the scratches, remaining detail, color, surface quality, and whether the coin contains an authentic mint error or unusual variety. Although this particular coin is usually not worth a fortune, it remains an interesting piece of American history and an important part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series. Next, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a classic United States 1-cent coin that continues to attract collectors because of its age, historical background, and place in the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series. If you have a 1954 penny with no mint mark, the absence of a letter under the date is completely normal. It means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place a mint mark on its cents during this period. The 1954 Philadelphia issue had a large production run, so the coin is not considered extremely rare in ordinary circulated condition. However, condition, surface quality, color, and possible errors can make a significant difference in its value. 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny normally features Abraham Lincoln facing right on the obverse, with the words Liberty and In God We Trust surrounding his portrait. The reverse displays 2 wheat ears along the edges, with 1 cent and United States of America in the center. These wheat stalks are the reason collectors commonly call the coin a wheat penny. The design was used from 1909 through 1958, making the 1954 issue part of the final decade of the wheat cent series. For a coin described as extra fine condition, collectors generally expect much of the original design detail to remain visible. Lincoln's hair should show noticeable separation and definition, while the cheek, jaw, coat, and other areas should have moderate wear rather than being completely smooth. On the reverse, the wheat stalks and lettering should remain sharp and easily readable. A genuine extra fine example can be worth more than a heavily worn good or fine specimen, but the exact price depends heavily on the surfaces and overall eye appeal. For a 1954 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny in extra fine condition, a typical market value is generally around $700,000 for an ordinary circulated example, although prices can vary depending on the buyer, coin dealer, auction results, and the exact grade. Some problem-free examples with attractive surfaces may bring somewhat more, while coins with damage, cleaning, heavy scratches, corrosion, or other problems can sell for less. Therefore, a scratched extra fine coin should not automatically be valued at the same level as a clean, problem-free extra fine example. The scratches mentioned on your coin are particularly important. A few light scratches may have only a modest effect on the value, especially if they are not located on Lincoln's face or across important design details. However, deep scratches, gouges, or numerous marks can significantly reduce collector interest. Collectors generally prefer coins with original surfaces because natural aging and original toning are considered more desirable than artificial cleaning or polishing. You should not clean this 1954 wheat penny, even if it looks dirty or dark. Washing, rubbing, polishing, or using chemicals can create additional hairline scratches and remove the coin's original surface. Once a collectible coin has been improperly cleaned, it can become much less desirable to serious collectors. What may look like dirt could actually be natural toning that developed over many years. The safest approach is to leave the coin exactly as you found it and place it in a suitable protective holder. It is also important to understand that online videos and advertisements sometimes show extremely high prices for wheat pennies. A headline claiming that a common 1954 penny is worth thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars does not mean every 1954 penny has that value. Extremely high prices are normally associated with exceptional grades, major mint errors, rare varieties, unusual characteristics, or coins with strong certification and documented auction history. A normal 1954 Philadelphia wheat penny with circulation wear and scratches is much more common. Before selling your coin, examine it carefully under good lighting. Check the date to make sure it really reads 1954, look below the date to confirm there is no mint mark, and inspect both sides for unusual doubling, missing design elements, die cracks, or other genuine minting abnormalities. Also check the color and surfaces without attempting to improve them. A coin that appears ordinary can sometimes deserve closer examination if it has an unusual error or variety. For your specific 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, described as extra fine condition with some scratches, a realistic present-day value estimate is approximately $740,000 in ordinary collector or dealer transactions. If the scratches are very light and the coin has stronger than expected detail and attractive original surfaces, it could potentially bring more. If the scratches are deep or the coin has been cleaned or otherwise damaged, the value could be lower. Even though this particular coin may not be worth a large amount of money, it remains a fascinating piece of American history. The 1954 wheat penny was produced more than 7 decades ago, and every surviving example represents a small piece of the everyday monetary history of the United States. If you enjoy collecting old coins, keeping this penny alongside other wheat cents can make it a useful part of a larger collection. The key is to preserve its original condition, avoid cleaning it, and accurately judge its grade before deciding what it may be worth. Next, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark is an interesting piece of American coinage and a popular addition to collections of Lincoln wheat cents. This particular coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark on its cents during this period. Because of that, seeing no letter such as D or S beneath the date is completely normal for a 1941 penny. Although millions were produced, collectors still pay attention to examples that have strong detail, attractive original surfaces, and limited signs of wear or damage. A 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny in extremely fine condition can be noticeably more desirable than one that has heavy circulation. Extremely fine generally means that the coin has experienced moderate wear but still retains a substantial amount of its original design detail. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait should remain well defined, with important details in his hair, cheek, jawline, and coat still visible. On the reverse, the wheat stalk should have clear outlines, and the inscriptions United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum should remain sharp and readable for a normal 1941 Philadelphia wheat penny. The date itself is not considered extremely rare. Philadelphia produced a very large number of these coins, so collectors generally focus more on condition, originality, errors, and varieties when determining value. A circulated example may be worth only a small amount above its face value, while a better preserved specimen can command a stronger premium. This is why accurately judging the condition of your particular coin is important before deciding what it may be worth. For a 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny in approximately extremely fine condition, a reasonable current market estimate is around $456,000 for an ordinary example with some scratches. A problem-free coin with attractive original surfaces could potentially bring around $1 or somewhat more depending on its exact grade, appearance, buyer demand, and selling venue. Coins certified by professional grading companies can sell for substantially more when they receive high grades, but certification is usually more relevant to unusually well-preserved examples than to a circulated coin with visible scratches. The scratches mentioned on this coin are important because collectors usually prefer coins with natural, original surfaces. Light contact marks that occur through normal circulation are common, but scratches that cut across the fields or design can lower the coin's desirability. If the scratches are deep or clearly caused after the coin left the mint, the coin may be considered damaged rather than simply circulated. In that situation, the market value can be lower than the price listed for a problem-free coin of the same grade. One of the biggest mistakes a new collector can make is cleaning an old coin. Do not polish, scrub, wash, scrape, or use chemicals to try to make this 1941 wheat penny look brighter. Cleaning can remove the original surface and leave unnatural marks that experienced collectors can easily recognize. A cleaned coin can be worth less than an original coin, even if the cleaned coin looks brighter. The safest approach is to leave the coin exactly as it is and store it in a proper non-damaging holder. It is also worth examining the coin carefully for unusual characteristics before selling it. Look closely at the date, lettering, Lincoln's portrait, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Check whether any letters or numbers appear doubled, distorted, unusually close together, or otherwise different from a normal example. Genuine mint errors and recognized varieties can sometimes carry premiums, although most unusual-looking features on circulated coins are simply the result of wear, damage, or post-mint contact. The absence of a mint mark is not itself an error on a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. Philadelphia cents from this era were intentionally struck without a mint mark. A 1941 D would have been produced at Denver, while a 1941 S would have been produced at San Francisco. Therefore, identifying the mint mark correctly is one of the first steps when evaluating any 1941 wheat penny. The historical background also makes this coin interesting. The 1941 penny was produced during a major period in American history, just as the United States was entering the World War II era. The Lincoln wheat cent design had already been circulating for decades, beginning in 1909, and it remained in production until 1958. Every surviving 1941 penny is therefore a small piece of that period of American history. For your described 1941 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, extremely fine condition, and some scratches, the most realistic value in today's ordinary collector market is approximately $678,000. If the scratches are minor and the coin retains strong original detail, it could be toward the higher end of that range. If the scratches are deep or severe, the value may be closer to the lower end. If an expert discovers an authentic mint error or an unusually high-grade example, the value could be different before selling the coin. Compare it with recently sold examples rather than relying only on asking prices. Take clear photographs of both sides, avoid cleaning it, and have it examined by a knowledgeable coin dealer if you believe there is something unusual about it. While a normal 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny is not a rare fortune coin, a well-preserved example remains collectible and can be worth more than its.
The 1957 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins from that year were not given a mint mark. This is a normal feature and does not make the coin rare. Millions of these pennies were made, so they are commonly found in collections and old coin jars across the United States. Although it is a popular coin among collectors because it belongs to the famous Wheat Penny series, its value depends mostly on its condition, color, and whether it has any unusual mint errors. A 1957 large-date wheat penny in good circulated condition is considered a common collectible. If the coin has been used in everyday circulation, it will usually show wear on the portrait of Abraham Lincoln and on the wheat ears on the reverse. Light wear is expected for a coin of this age and does not greatly reduce its value. However, noticeable scratches, surface damage, or signs of improper handling will lower the price, because collectors prefer coins with smooth, original surfaces. If your coin has some scratches, but still has clear details and readable lettering, it remains collectible, but the scratches reduce its appeal. Most collectors are willing to pay more for coins that have fewer marks and a more attractive appearance. Even small scratches can make a difference in value, especially when compared with similar coins in better condition. The large date design does not add extra value to a regular 1957 Philadelphia wheat penny, because it is the standard style used during production. Collectors mainly pay higher prices for coins with exceptional preservation or for rare mint errors, such as the famous 1955 double die or other unusual varieties. A normal 1957 large-date coin without a mint mark is valued as a common issue unless it has a verified minting error in today's market. A 1957 wheat penny without a mint mark in good circulated condition with some scratches is generally worth between $600,000. However, coins with noticeable scratches, cleaning, or other damage usually remain in the lower end of the value range. Many coin dealers purchase common wheat pennies in bulk and may offer only a few cents per coin, while private collectors sometimes pay slightly more for examples with better eye appeal. One important rule for old coins is that they should never be cleaned. Many people believe that making a coin shiny will increase its value, but the opposite is usually true. Cleaning removes the natural surface that collectors want to see and often leaves fine hairline scratches that reduce the coin's desirability. Even professional grading companies can identify clean coins, and they often receive lower values than coins with untouched original surfaces. For that reason, it is always best to leave the coin exactly as it is. The reddish-brown or brown color of the coin also affects its value. Most circulated 1957 wheat pennies have turned brown over time, which is completely normal. Coins that still retain bright original red color are much more valuable, but those examples are usually found only in uncirculated condition. Since your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, it is most likely a circulated brown example. Collectors enjoy the 1957 wheat penny because it represents one of the final years of the wheat cent series, which ended in 1958 before the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced in 1959. This historical connection makes the coin popular with beginners and experienced collectors alike. Even though it is not considered rare based on your description of a 1957 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, large date, good circulated condition, and some scratches, the realistic market value today is approximately $650,000, being the most likely selling price. Unless the coin has a rare mint error or is in outstanding uncirculated condition, it is valued as a common collectible rather than a rare or expensive coin. Next up, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most widely collected coins in the United States because it was produced during the final years of the famous wheat cent series, which was minted from 1909 through 1958. The small D mint mark below the date shows that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. More than 1 billion examples were produced in 1941, making it one of the most common wheat pennies available to collectors today. Because of this extremely high mintage, Most circulated coins are valued for their historical significance rather than their rarity. It is also important to note that the 1941 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny does not have an official large date variety. While some sellers may describe the coin as a large date, this designation is not recognized by major grading services and does not increase the coin's value. A coin described as being in very fine condition has experienced moderate circulation but still retains many important design details. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait should display visible hair detail, especially around the ear and above the forehead. The cheek and jawline remain well defined, although they will show clear signs of wear. The lettering, date, and the D mint mark should all be sharp and easy to read. On the reverse, the wheat ears should show most of the grain lines, although some of the finer details may be worn from years of circulation. Overall, a very fine example remains attractive and is considered a solid collectible for those building a wheat penny collection. The presence of scratches has a direct impact on the value of any collectible coin. Even when a coin qualifies for a very fine grade, noticeable scratches reduce its desirability because collectors generally prefer coins with original surfaces and minimal damage. Light scratches from normal handling are common on circulated coins and usually have only a small effect on value. However, deeper scratches or multiple marks across the portrait or reverse design can lower the selling price because they affect the coin's appearance. Collectors often refer to these as damaged coins, and they usually sell for less than problem-free examples of the same grade in today's coin market. A typical 1941 with D. Lincoln Wheat Penny in very fine condition without significant damage is generally worth about $1 a coin, with only sell for approximately $300,000 depending on its overall eye appeal. If the scratches are more noticeable or affect the main design elements, the value may decrease to approximately $400,000. Individual selling prices can vary depending on demand, the quality of the coin, and whether it is sold to a collector, a coin dealer, or through an online marketplace. Although the 1941 D. Wheat Penny is not considered rare, it remains an important part of American numismatic history because it represents one of the final wheat cent issues before the Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced the wheat design in 1959. Many collectors enjoy owning examples from the last years of the series, and the coin continues to be a popular and affordable addition to beginner and advanced collections alike unless a 1941 D. Wheat Penny is found in outstanding uncirculated condition or displays a genuine mint error. Its market value remains modest. For a circulated coin in very fine condition with some scratches, a realistic current market value is approximately $700,000 being a fair average estimate in today's market. This value reflects current collector demand, the coin's common availability, its condition, and the presence of surface scratches that slightly reduce its overall desirability. Next, the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognizable coins in American history and continues to attract collectors of all experience levels. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins of that year were produced without a mint mark. Many people mistakenly believe that the missing mint mark makes the coin rare, but for 1937, this is completely normal. The coin features Abraham Lincoln on the front and two wheat ears on the reverse, a design that remained in production from 1909 through 1958. Even though millions of these coins were made, they remain popular because of their historical significance and their connection to the years immediately following World War II. If your 1937 Wheat Penny has a strong, clear date, no mint mark, and is in fine condition with only some light scratches from circulation, it still has collector interest. Fine condition means the coin has noticeable wear from everyday use, but the major details of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks are still visible. The lettering should remain readable, and the overall design should be clear despite years of handling. Light scratches and small marks are common on circulated coins of this age and are generally considered normal. These minor imperfections usually do not have a major effect on value unless the scratches are deep or the coin has been heavily damaged in today's coin market. A typical 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark in fine condition, is usually worth between $700,000. Coins with attractive natural brown color, even wear, and original surfaces are often more desirable than examples that have been cleaned or polished. Collectors generally prefer coins that have aged naturally, because cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce collectible value. Even if a cleaned coin looks shinier, experienced collectors usually pay less for it than for an untouched example. The overall value of a 1937 wheat penny depends on several important factors. Condition is the most significant. Coins with less wear and stronger details are worth more than heavily circulated pieces. Color also matters. Original red copper coins are much scarcer than brown examples and can command much higher prices. The presence of unusual mint errors can increase value dramatically. Although most 1937 pennies are common, a small number were struck with errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other minting mistakes. These error coins are much rarer than ordinary examples and may be worth several dollars, hundreds of dollars, or even more depending on the type of error and its condition. Collectors should also examine the coin carefully before deciding whether it has any special characteristics. Using a magnifying glass can help reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Sharp lettering, clear wheat lines, and original surfaces are all positive signs. If a coin appears unusual or shows signs of a possible mint error, it may be worth having it evaluated by a professional coin dealer or grading service. Professional grading can confirm authenticity and condition, which may increase buyer confidence if the coin is eventually sold. For an ordinary 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, featuring a large, clear date, fine condition, and only normal circulation scratches, a realistic market value today is around $780,000, being a fair average estimate. While it is not considered a rare coin, it remains a favorite among collectors because of its classic wheat cent design, historical importance, and affordability. Preserving the coin in its original condition, storing it in a protective holder, and avoiding any cleaning will help maintain its collectible appeal and ensure that future collectors can appreciate this small but meaningful piece of American history.